Setting up your home kitchen for success often begins with the lovely purging of the pantry. So what will you purge? Well, it's going to be different for everyone because some are dealing with the strictness of a medical or food intolerance diet. Others of you are just wanting to get one vegetable in a day. And many of you have some big declarations to make and no more junk food. So how are you to set up your kitchen? And all of that really depends on your ultimate goal. Look, we all need to begin somewhere, and it needs to unfold at a pace you're comfortable with. However, one thing that is straight across the board helpful, pretty much for everyone, is an organized pantry and a refrigerator, and a kitchen in general. But what you want is for it to welcome you to create, and the kitchen's all about creation. I'm not overly zealous about order and cleanliness pretty much anywhere else in my house, but my kitchen has a completely different set of rules. I do a large part of my cooking in the morning. I make breakfast and lunch for both Joey and I, and then I often start or at least take out inventory of what's for dinner at that time. I'm adamant that each morning I want to walk into a clean slate of an organized and clean kitchen. No dishes from the night before, nothing left on the counter except some appliances and my bottles of oils and spices. There's order. And why do I create that? Because each morning I want a canvas to paint on. At one point, your kitchen needs to be clean. So why not make it a priority to do it before you go to bed or sit down to watch TV? And when you are sleepily entering in the morning and you're wanting your coffee or tea, you'll feel ready instead of defeated before the day has even a chance to begin. Now, as for the kitchen itself, I urge you to organize in a way so you're not working twice as long to look for things and you aren't searching for an ingredient that you have 2 open boxes of already. An organization so you know what you have, and more importantly, know what you need to add to your list of your basic staples. Each nationality will have its own staples and must-haves that create the meals you typically make. So I'm not going to tackle that list specifically, but never abandoning your inventory of staples will allow meals to be created when there was no advanced planning. And this goes along with consistent cleaning out of the pantry and the fridge. Know what you have and keep only what you know you will use if you needed chutney for a recipe a year ago. And by the way, it takes a long time for a good chutney to go bad. So you're keeping it in the fridge door because it's still good. However, truly have no plan of ever making the recipe again. So please toss it. Don't give away valuable kitchen real estate for foods you rarely use. How many mustards does one person really need? By not having a cluttered fridge, you'll risk the temptation to open yet another mustard when you already have 2 open. That being said, there's a lot of different kinds of mustards, so you do whatever. But the point is, don't clutter your fridge and pantry with multi-similar items. Another tip for the pantry is to group items normally used together. Many people do this already with their spices, but one of the best examples of grouping is arranging on a shelf or a drawer, a cabinet, items that you bake with, like flours, baking powder, chocolate chips, sugar, anything you use for baking. Have basically just one area. And when you want to bake something like muffins or a cake, you don't take as much time because you can pull everything out of that one particular area. And you'll also keep inventory of whether or not you have 2 baking powders open, for example. And of course, the same is true with like measuring cups and spoons. And speaking of organization of your items, the biggest clutter filler in the kitchen is having too many pots or pans and utensils. Most people only use about 3 sizes of pots in the kitchen, maybe 4. When you have more than that in a standard kitchen, you start stacking and making it challenging to quickly take out a pot and start cooking. Now, obviously there are variances with this. Some may have a studio apartment, so one small and one large is pretty much all you want to have. And if you have a huge kitchen and entertain a lot, sure, you need a lot more. But evaluate just how many of your pots and pans and your bowls and your utensils you need, and then just give away the rest. So let's see what else. Another big space waster is storage containers, that's for sure. Do they all have lids? If not, get rid of them. My friend taught me the best way to organize anything is to pull everything out of the cabinet and categorize it, and then get rid of duplicates and get rid of items you never or rarely use. And a good example of that is like when you have an Easter bunny mold for a cake, your cake, cluttering up your bakeware cabinet, put that with your Easter decorations in the attic or the basement, not in your day-to-day use kitchen. Storage containers and jars, if they don't have lids, please recycle them, move on. And glasses, oh, your glasses and mugs, 90% of you would be so well served to get rid of old plastic cups and your 20-year collection of mugs. And look, I'm not trying to criticize, but sometimes what seems logical to purge to some seems like part of the family to another. And if that makes you happy, then great. But the problem is that the kitchen item, like the hoarding of it, makes it difficult to maneuver and flow when you are preparing something. So maybe not today, but think about decluttering in your very near future.